Welcome you back to another episode of Weapon H All in One Podcast. I'm your host, Herman Alston, aka Weapon H. We're going to get into a bit of a touchy subject today, and we're going to talk about the obesity rate in America and other places today. But before we get into that, just make sure you hit those subscribe buttons. Whether if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit follow. If you're on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast on, make sure you follow and keep up with the show. All right, so now we're going to first start off by getting into a few numbers. The obesity rate in America is really has been going out of control. We're pretty much at this point up to about 40% of people in the country that are obese. You have 32% that are actually just overweight. So they're overweight, not quite obese yet, but they are overweight and heading toward that. And at 7% as severely obese. So you're looking at that, and that's coming to about 2 out of every 3 people are at least overweight or obese. That is an extremely high number. And I'm going to get into a few more numbers while we sit here. America itself is ranked, as far as the world rank, is ranked at about 12. But let's get into the bottom of that number, because if you see the top 10, you have countries are Nauru, the Cook Island, Palau, Marshall Islands, Tuvalu, Niue, Tonga, Samoa, Kiribati, and Micronesia. Those are the top 10. And if you notice, all of those are pretty much in the same areas like us in Southern Asia tip, but they're really small. Those are basically islands. So the numbers can be a little misconstrued, but as we get into after those top 10, we start getting into the main countries. Kuwait is number 11, and right behind them is the United States of America. And Kuwait is at a 38, America is at a total of 36.2 as of this, as these numbers as they came out. As like number really would be, outside of those little small countries, that would be number 2 in the world. And you sit back and think to yourself, why is it that we have such an astronomically high number when we have a country with access to so much information nowadays? But here's the thing. This is my opinion. So, you can't go on and quote somebody or whatever the case may be. This is my opinion. We're way too sedentary. I mean, we don't do anything anymore. We have computers and we have 1,000 different TV shows that people can watch and binge watch. Netflix, the big thing is binge watching. And we don't do much. But while we're being sedentary, we're just eating and eating and eating. We're just not active enough. And then we're not watching what we're eating because we're eating a lot of processed food because we don't want to cook. We don't take the time to, we just want everything fast. And from all of the TV watching, it started getting into our heads where, like, healthy foods is just not good. And it doesn't taste good. There's always some type of excuse when it comes down to eating better. I had a story the other day. I have a story where someone, sent me a message where they said, well, I was going to work out with you, and I saw this post and I didn't really like it. It made me offensive. So now it was offensive to me. So, I don't want to work out. And to me, that's one of the biggest reasons why we have a lot of obesity out there. It's excuses. So, because for me, I'm sitting there like, okay, well, if that is the case, but let's matter of fact, let's go back on that. If that post me, I had hundreds and hundreds of posts before this one particular post where, I'm always been someone who's positive, uplifting, and it was a post that was pretty funny. But okay, if you took it that way, if you took it funny, you took it as offensive, you know, you thought it was you were being shamed or whatever the case may be. Okay, maybe I'm not the one for you. You don't like me, even though my track record speaks differently. But okay, let's just say you don't like me. Did you get with another trainer? Did you get with someone else who was going to help you? Because if you didn't, then that's just an excuse. You can't use the excuse of what I did or what you would assume for me to do or picture that I did for you to not take better care of yourself. That just sounds more like an excuse for me. Because otherwise, you would just find someone else and still take care of what you need to take care of. But anyone who knows me, even a little bit, would know how much I care about people and trying to get people to lose weight. Even when I say things over and over, when I become a pain in the behind, where they just, oh my God, Herm, leave me the hell alone. But I'm going to keep on giving out information. I'm going to keep pushing. That's just what I do. So that's not something that was going to work on me. But again, this is one of the issues where people will find any reason to get out of it. So for instance, okay, let's put this in perspective. If someone told you that Chick-fil-A was no good, are you going to stop eating chicken? Highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. But yet, you can take that and use that as a way not to work out. No, that's not going to fly. And one, not only that you're not going to stop eating chicken, you probably won't even stop going to Chick-fil-A if they supposedly offend you, because a lot of these companies have offended people. They offend you all the time with promoting some of the things that they promote. They promote things to certain communities that they won't promote to others. And but that didn't stop you. So, the excuses can kind of just go to the wayside for me. And I'm not a big buyer of that. If it's something that you really think you want to do, you're going to do it. Sometimes, yes, you're going to need a little push. Sometimes you may need a little nudging in a certain direction. But it's always easy to cop out. And I mean, it's even spread to the children. I mean, you look at the child obesity rates. You have 12.7% with 2 to 5-year-olds, 20.7% 6 to 11-year-olds, 22.2% from the 12 to 19-year-olds. And that you can see as they got a little older, as they got into adolescence, the numbers started rising. As a kid, you 2 to 5-year-old, that's kind of a pretty high number for 2 to 5-year-olds, because you want to make they're getting active, they're starting to walk, but apparently they're just not doing enough. Or I would say that will more so come from what they're eating, because typically 2 to 5-year-olds are fairly active, even because there's nothing to really distract them at that age. 6 to 11, these kids are growing up in the computer age, so they're already on the games by that time. They learn how to play the games, and the games could give you one good thing as far as reflexes, but you can't be on them all day long, because now your body's not getting anything. It's not getting any of the movement that will keep your metabolism high, where you won't have to worry much. At that age, you shouldn't have to worry much about losing weight. It's, just from being a kid and being active, usually always took care of that. You have some that, just don't do much. But for the most part, if you're an active kid, it really wouldn't be an issue. And as 12 to 19-year-olds, now they had years of programming already. They've already even watched the commercials. They with their friends. They're all like, they barely even see each other anymore. I mean, other than on the screen like we're doing now. They on screens. They have their headsets on. They playing. They talk to their friends. But like, when was the last time you saw such and such? And I saw him maybe 2 weeks ago. It is one of your closest friends, but you see him every day, but you don't see him. So it's like this system, this way of life, this lifestyle that we have now is is counterproductive to a healthy lifestyle. And no one says you have to be like top all on it all the time, and you have to be just super disciplined. I mean, even, I'm on the discipline side, but you don't have to. It doesn't have to be an extreme for you to be in shape. But you do need to do something. You do need to work out sometime. You do need to eat better. You do need to cut out those processed foods because that's where most of it most of it comes from because those foods are made to last. I mean, you think they on shelves forever. So how long do you think it's gonna last when it's in your body? Your body's not gonna break it down as fast as regular food because they were designed to last. So if you think about it in that way, it makes sense. They lasting on the shelf a long time. It's gonna last in you a long time as well if you don't do nothing about it. And they're a little harder to burn off than regular cooked foods. So we got to get back on trying to prepare meals again. Even if you have to prepare then enough for you to have a day or two, so you don't have to cook every day. But we have to get back into preparing meals. I mean, because these processed foods are, I mean, they not only getting us overweight, they're causing all types of diseases. I mean, and what have you. But one of the main things is really, I mean, it's just, I mean, once you turn on that TV, pretty much that's all you see. Food commercials, fast food commercials, things that make everything more convenient. I mean, I get it. Working a lot of hours, sometimes convenient is good, but it all depends. Like you can't play with your health. You just can't. You can't play with your health like that. Especially I mean, you see a lot of younger people having health issues that typically wouldn't happen to people in their 60s and 70s. Now they happen in 30s and 40s. I mean, it's really insane. But the obesity, I mean, some people, I mean, however you need to dive into that issue, first of all, you have to admit that it's an issue. And even if you have to, hey, if you need to go to a psychologist for help, psychiatrist, you need to hit acupuncture. There's a lot of ways to try to help you with it, talking to people. But bottom line, you're gonna have to put it in your mind that you want to change. I mean, you have to be able to see yourself. You have to be able to see yourself. And it's not about being the best looking. I mean, I know they say, love people for however they are, which is true. Love people whether they're big, they're small, they're short, they're tall. Yes, you love people, but at the same time, if you really love the person, you want them to be around. You want them healthy. You don't want them being sick all the time. And obesity will cause that. It causes a lot of issues. High blood pressure, diabetes, heart problems. I mean, I had someone I grew up with who actually had from the knee down, had his leg amputated. And from, diabetes, you would think, okay, that is a major wake up call. But it continued on, because, they got the replacement leg and, they continued on with the same lifestyle. Stopped for a little while. And they went back to what they were eating again, and the other leg is gone. And to me, I'm thinking like, how long before you decide to make that change? But it's going to be to each his own. And we're not only thinking about ourselves, but those that have kids. Are you thinking about being around a little bit for the kids, for them to grow up? Are you thinking that way? I don't think most people are when they have that type of lifestyle, when they take that kind of damage to their bodies without doing anything about it. It's like they don't really think that far into the future. Like, am I going to be around for my kids? And then the kids end up grabbing that habit, and then they're obese. It just becomes a process. It has to start at home with changing your lifestyle, changing your mentality first off. You have to change. And change that and change everyone around you. Because that change starts to become encoded in your DNA. Because just like a DNA is pretty much almost like a hard drive. It stores information and it just passed on from generation to generation. That's why they say when you have you're more likely to have something because of your family, but it's because something is stored. The DNA is stored in the DNA and it's passed along. It's passed along. But guess what? Just like with a hard drive, you can delete things and add something else. You can change it. You can change the programming. That's like a computer. You can change the programming. You go from Windows 8 to Windows 9 or whatever the case may be. You can change the programming. And it starts with you. Once you start changing the programming, guess what? Now the DNA is changing. Now you're having a different encode. Now you're passing that on to the next. Then they'll pass it on to the next. And then you're talking to other friends about it. Then they're passing it down to their seeds. And this one is passing to their seeds. Just like things got the way they are now with obesity, it can get that way with being more healthy. So I'm going to leave you with that for today. And I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. Weapon H, all in one podcast. Make sure to hit those subscribes and likes wherever you see your podcasts. I'm on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, iHeart. Wherever you find a podcast, pretty much find mine there. So thanks for tuning in. See you guys soon. And oh yes, Weapon H Fitness on Instagram, Herman Austin on Facebook. Follow it. If you want comments, you can comment here on one of the podcasts, or you can comment on my social medias. Get the conversation started. Get everyone active. Thanks, and I'll see you guys again soon.